Good morning. My name is Aisha Chugtai, and I am the chair of the Budget Committee. I'm going to call to order the Budget Committee meeting for Monday, June 16th, 2025. Before we begin the meeting, I want to offer a friendly reminder to all members, staff, and the public that these meetings are broadcast live to enable greater public participation. These broadcasts include real-time captioning as a further method to increase the accessibility of our proceedings to the community. Therefore, all speakers need to be mindful of the rate of their speech so that our captioners can fully capture and transcribe all comments for the broadcast. We ask all speakers to moderate the speed and clarity of their comments. At this time, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll so we can verify the presence of a quorum.
Councilmember Payne.
Present.
Wansley.
Present.
Greenville.
Present.
Vita.
Present.
Ellison is absent. Osman is absent. Cashman is absent. Jenkins is absent. Chavez.
Present.
Chowdhury.
Present.
Paul Masano.
Present.
And Vice Chair Koski.
Present.
And Chair Chugtai.
Present.
There are 9 members present.
Let the record reflect that we have a quorum. I'll also remind my colleagues that we are using speaker management today, so please make sure you sign in. Colleagues, before we take up our agenda, I'd like to take a few moments to acknowledge the heartbreaking losses our state and community are holding right now. Early on Saturday morning, Minnesota State House Speaker Melissa Hortman was assassinated in her home by someone impersonating a law enforcement officer. He also took the life of Speaker Hortman's husband, Mark Hortman. He also attacked Senator John Hoffman and his wife, Yvette, who were rushed to the hospital and are thankfully stable and recovering from severe injuries. I know we're all devastated by these horrific acts of violence, and thankfully the perpetrator was taken into custody last night. The gravity of loss Speaker Hortman and Mark's daughter, Sophie, is left with, that Senator Hoffman and Yvette's daughter, Hope, is left with, and that our entire community and state are left with is enormous. So I'd like to invite all of us to share in a moment of silence in acknowledgement of these tragedies before we continue to our agenda. Thank you all. Colleagues, we have 3 items on our agenda today. The first item is related to adjusting the 2025 Consolidated Action Plan. I will ask Matt Bauer from the Finance Department to come up and present on this item. Welcome, Mr. Bauer.
Thank you, Chair Chugtai and members of the committee, Budget Committee. Matt Bauer, Finance and Property Services, and I'm here to request an amendment to the 2025 General Appropriation Budget Resolution to account for, in the Schedule 4 of that budget, the actual HUD awards that the city is slated to receive from the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. The adopted budget that you had in December contained an estimated award amount for each of the 4 grants that we receive under this HUD Consolidated Plan programming. The net change in the budget is about $35,000 increase. There's slight increases to the Community Development Block Grant and the Home Investment Partnerships Grants. Very slight decreases in the Emergency Solutions Grant and the Housing Opportunities for Persons with AIDS Grant. These increases or decreases to these respective budgets will be applied to certain programming lines within the Schedule 4 in accordance with kind of HUD programmatic considerations and then the just the general budget considerations and priorities approved by this council. And with that, I would ask to have that resolution adopted.
Thank you for that presentation, Mr. Bauer. Colleagues, is there any discussion, questions, or comments from the committee? I'm not seeing any. Just, Mr. Bauer, if you can speak to the process that we are going through and reviewing the grants, federal grants and agreements, and what type of implications that might have for this action today. I know that's a process that's also being led by the City Attorney's Office, so I'm happy to ask Deputy City Attorney Abelson to speak to them as well.
Yes, so Chair Chuktai and committee members, this application for these funds, we are currently in the process of preparing that for HUD right now. This, like any other the recent federal grant agreements and applications, go through review by the City Attorney's Office. We are reviewing some assurance language that's associated with these grants and potential either applicability or implications for the city if we were to sign off on those. That's currently under review, and once that review is completed, we'll either, we'll either proceed with the application or we may come back with some adjustments.
Wonderful. And so, just so we're all clear, we're making an adjustment to the consolidated action plan, not because we've signed off on not because we have finalized agreements with the relevant federal agencies, but in anticipation of the awards that we may receive, we're likely to receive, should everything go according to plan. Is that accurate?
Correct, yes.
And should we end up in a situation where we are not able to agree on terms of the agreements with the relevant federal agencies, what type of gap would we see in our budgets for these programs?
These programs that this budget covers is about $17 million in the budget, and obviously, if we weren't able to agree to any terms or have, find ourselves in a position where we weren't comfortable with them and needed to, either make a change or initiate a change or do an alternative actions with these grants, we would, that would be a management review first, and then we would come back to the council with some recommendations on next steps and the implications of those steps on other aspects of the budget. But at this point, it's premature to kind of speculate what those could be. But again, that's with anything. I mean, they're always prospective budget, and that's why we're going at this point still with presuming we'll be accepting these to get the budgets in place so departments know what they're getting and can continue planning as they do, much as we do in December when we give these departments their prospective budget directions. So.
Yeah, thank you for that. I mean, I ask because $17 million is quite a significant amount of money, and I know these are conversations that are happening enterprise-wide with several of the different federal awards that we receive to provide pretty critical lines of service to our residents. So there's a lot on the line. I want to thank you for your work on this, along with the City Attorney's Office and all the relevant staff and departments that are working very, very diligently to make sure that we are able to continue critical lines of service and are holding our values in our relationship to the federal government and the awards that we receive. Thank you. I'm not seeing any further questions. So before we continue to approval of this item, I would like to note that we have been joined in this committee by council members Osman and Jenkins. And seeing no further discussion, I'll move approval of this item. Do I have a second? That item has been properly moved and seconded. So all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, say nay. Any abstentions? The ayes have it, and that motion carries. Now we'll move to item number 2 on our discussion agenda, which is the 2026 budget recommendations from the Legislative Department. I will invite Destiny Zhang, Director of Administration for the City Clerk's Office, Casey Carl, our City Clerk, and Robert Timmerman, our City Auditor, to come up and begin this presentation. Welcome.
Thank you. Good morning, Council Vice President and members of the Budget Committee. My name is Casey Carl. I have the privilege of serving as clerk for the City of Minneapolis. As indicated, we're here to present the 2026 supplemental budget for the Legislative Department, which encompasses the City Council and the offices of Clerk and Auditor. The presentation will be led by our Director of Administration, Destiny Zhang, as the chair indicated, with City Auditor Robert Timmerman here to discuss the Auditor's Office proposals. We also have with us our Director of Elections and Voter Services, Katie Smith, to respond to any questions the committee may have about our supplemental request associated with the 2026 gubernatorial election. We appreciate this is a full day given this week's shortened schedule, so we will do our best to push through our prepared presentation as quickly as possible. And with that, it's my pleasure to introduce Ms. Zhang.
Good morning, Madam Chair and members of the committee. My name is Destiny Zhang, Director of Administration for the Legislative Department. Today, I will be presenting on the Legislative Department's 2026 budget requests. Pursuant to City Charter, the Legislative Department is a separate department of the Minneapolis municipal government under the general oversight of the City Council. The department encompasses the City Council and the Office of the City Clerk, City Auditor, and its purpose is to provide institutional support for the Council's official legislative, policy-making, and oversight functions. The City Clerk is the head of the Legislative Department for all administrative purposes. As shown on this slide, in 2025, the department has a total of 114 FTEs. These positions are divided into the 3 major divisions as follows. City Council has 41 FTEs. City Clerk has 65 FTEs. This includes the addition of policy and research and oversight and evaluation. City Auditor has 8 FTEs. This chart shows the historical trend of the Legislative General Fund expenses. Although the policy and research and oversight and evaluation divisions were transferred to the Office of City Clerk earlier this year, their funding is still shown under the Office of City Auditor to maintain consistency and ensure clean year-end reconciliation. Starting in 2026, these funds will be reflected under the Office of City Clerk. This chart places the Legislative Department within the context of the city's overall general fund budget based on data from OpenGov for the approved 2025 budget. It excludes special revenue, internal service, enterprise, and capital funds. As shown, the Legislative Department accounts for approximately 2.8% of the city's general fund. For clarity, division areas are broken out individually. The Office of City Clerk represents the largest share at 1.9%. The combined council and auditor divisions make up about 2.4% of the city's total general fund expenditures. These figures highlight the department's strong value rooted in delivering core democratic functions like community governance and public participation, while representing a relatively small portion of the overall budget. A unique aspect of the department's budget is the impact of election-related costs. While the Elections and Voter Services Division has a stable base budget for full-time staff, rent, and operations, the cost of actually running an election can represent nearly half of the clerk's total program budget in a given year. This variability is tied to the 4-year election cycle, which causes significant swings in annual spending, but it's also a critical function. After all, Government begins at the ballot box, and Minneapolis has a long-standing and proud tradition of delivering high-quality, accessible election services to its residents. On this slide, you'll see the 2026 current service level for both the Office of City Clerk and the City Council. I want to note here that the Office of City Clerk includes several key operational divisions: Document Solution Center, Information Governance, Policy and Research, Oversight and Evaluation, Legislative Support and Operations, while separating out the Elections and Voter Services. Looking ahead to 2026, the Office of City Clerk is reiterating a one-time funding request of $6.2 million, in addition to its standard election and voter services operating budget. This request is critical to support the 2026 gubernatorial election. Here you see the 2026 current service level for the Office of City Auditor. To meet the growing demands of its oversight responsibilities and fulfill its mandate under city ordinances, the Office of City Auditor is requesting ongoing funding of $573,000. This funding will enable the creation of 3 new positions. Next, we'll walk through each supplemental request. First, the Elections and Voter Services request. In 2026, our election-related activities are set to increase steadily throughout the year, culminating in a significant operational peak during the November gubernatorial election. To prepare for this critical moment and ensure a seamless, accessible, and secure election process, we are submitting a one-time funding request of $6.2 million. This investment will support a comprehensive election infrastructure, including 159 temporary workers to manage administrative, logistical, and technical tasks, 2,200 election judges to staff polling places, ensure compliance, and assist voters. A robust network of early vote centers comprising of 1 center that will be open for 46 days, 2 centers that will be open for 14 days, and several pop-up voting locations to increase access. And crucially, staffing for expended service hours in alignment with City Council's policy direction to increase accessibility and voter support. Next, City Auditor Robert Timmerman will present on the Office of City Auditor's 2026 request.
Welcome.
Thank you. Vice President Chugtai and Budget Committee members. I am City Auditor Robert Timmerman, and I am going to expand on my vision for the Office of City Auditor. As you know, the City Auditor and its office is a role of great importance to the city and residents of Minneapolis. The investments you made 2 weeks ago to add 4 positions to the office was the first of 2 steps to fund a special review and advisory services division and to right-size the staffing resource needs of the office. Today, I will outline what needs to be done to finalize your investment in the only independent and objective body that reports publicly on the city's compliance and performance. If you recall, when Minneapolis's government structure was reorganized through the voter-approved charter amendment in 2021, just 1 position was created, and that was the city auditor position. With this came a responsibility of the city auditor, audit committee, and city council to effectively fund the oversight functions provided by my office. I'm going to go into just a little bit of background and then highlight the 3 additional positions that I'm requesting as a part of the 2026 budget. As I've previously mentioned, internal audit has evolved over the years to focus heavily on compliance and performance auditing. My hope is to create a new division, a special review and advisory services division that will help us meet the growing demand of after-action reviews, ad hoc advisory services, and requests that come from the City Council, Audit Committee, and the administration. Going into the background here, the Audit Committee, as you're aware, is made up of 2 City Council members, 1 Parks Board member, and 4 community members. The city charter assigns to the audit committee responsibility to oversee the office of city auditor. It appoints the auditor, adopts the audit charter that defines the office's purpose, mission, authority, and independence. It also adopts our annual work plan. My office performs risk-based, independent, objective assurance and consulting services. We investigate alleged abuse, fraud, and waste involving city resources. We monitor and assure compliance with the charter, ordinances, and other applicable law. And we monitor and assure adherence to sound audit practices applicable to municipalities, which the auditor designates with the audit committee's approval. Finally, we minimize financial, operational, reputational, strategic, and other risks. The Code of Ordinances indicates that the Office of City Auditor shall provide independent, objective assurance and consulting services to evaluate and improve the effectiveness of city operations. Here are a few of those codes. The office has a duty and obligation to plan, direct, organize, and supervise the work of the office. The code also prescribes a duty to the city council to provide for that staffing and other resources needed for the effective performance of the office's work. This is a representation of the current structure. If you remember from Ms. Zhang's slides, in the lower right corner, we have 8 positions currently. This is mild compared to some of our sister organizations across the country. We currently have 8, as I mentioned, and that is on the low, significantly low end of the spectrum when you consider staffing resources in similarly sized cities. Now, of course, there are nuances to the structure and responsibilities of audit in all cities. Some have an OIG function, some have audit, but up until the voter-approved structural realignment, Minneapolis had neither, and we had just 1 to 3 internal auditors. So I am glad that you're making the investments in this office and in oversight. The new division that we've talked about, the Special Reviews and Advisory Services Division, will provide program evaluations, community safety audits, special reviews, including after-action reviews, investigations, and ad hoc advisory services. They will all be conducted with the same level of independence and rigor as our internal audits. The positions that I'm looking for in 2026 are 3, as previously mentioned. One is a deputy city auditor. This position will report directly to myself. These are estimated salaries because the JAQ to develop the position and the classification is necessary, but we're estimating that to be at $239,000. This is a position that the city code allows for appointment. Another of the positions is the director of the new division. The salary estimate here is $208,000. This is in alignment with our director of internal audit services. And the final of the 3 positions is an internal auditor in the new division. This will be somewhere in the range of an auditor 2, 3, or 4. Currently, auditor 3 and 4 don't exist, but I am looking to add those as classifications to help with retention and ensure that we are managing our resources and supporting the staff that currently is in the office. The impact with this would be roughly $124,000. So with the new structure, it would look like this, expanding from the 8 positions we currently have into 15 total. You can see that the green are the positions that you recently approved, and the orange are the positions that I've discussed today. So I'll transition it back to City Clerk to finish up the presentation for the 2026 budget proposal. Thank you.
Now that we've outlined the needs of both the Office of City Clerk and the Office of City Auditor, I'd like to walk you through how we plan to support operational success and ensure strategic alignment across the department. To do this, we conducted a thorough review of our base budget and identified areas of redundancies. By repurposing those funds, we're able to address critical personnel needs and strengthen our capacity through the following key changes. 1, 12 positions are being reclassified across key divisions to better align talent with purpose, improve role clarity, and support our long-term strategic direction. 2, enhancing capacity in the Legislative Support and Operations Division by directing resources toward areas of growing operational demands by establishing 3 new FTEs through the administrative ad process. 3, reallocating funds to contractual services to support elected official orientation, strategic planning, and professional development for the next 4 years. 4, transitioning election personnel from .75 roles to permanent 1.0 FTE model. This is reducing reliance on consistently requesting for one-time funding and ensuring a continuity in essential election-related work. 5, with the recent council action to reallocate 4 FTEs to the city auditor, the Office of City Clerk has committed to transfer ongoing funds to this action to ensure the Office of City Auditor has the capacity it needs to provide audit services to the city. These changes do not increase our budget and reflect our commitment to responsible budgeting, sustainability, and aligning staffing with the department's evolving priorities. As shown on this slide with the changes in personnel, in 2026, the Legislative Department will have a total of 124 FTEs. These positions are divided into 3 major divisions as follows. City Council will have 41 FTEs. City Clerk will have 68 FTEs. City Auditor will have 15 FTEs. With that, next, City Clerk Casey Carl will address unanticipated costs that have emerged in 2025.
Madam Vice President, the slide in front of you shows, as Ms. Zhang indicated, a number of unplanned expenditures that the department experienced just this year. Our reasoning for including this is to show that the legislative department routinely takes on costs not directly tied to the work of the legislative department, but which are honestly much more of an enterprise-wide expenditure. I think council members are well aware of this, that our department often, in fact, I'd say frequently, steps up to help address unanticipated needs across the enterprise. So as you can see over just the past 6 months, on this slide, we've absorbed over $800,000 in unanticipated costs of this nature. We included this slide to highlight that the legislative department does its part to help contribute to the larger needs of the city enterprise beyond the core functions and responsibilities that are assigned to us under charter and law. That fact is sometimes missed when we discuss our budget and our operations. And so we not only handle our core functions of the department, which you are familiar with and which Ms. Zhang and Mr. Timmerman explained, but we do partner with the administration and honestly with all departments to address enterprise-wide needs. So I wanted to make sure we put that into the record. We do take our obligations as stewards of the taxpayers' investment in this city very seriously, and the allocations that the council gives to us each year as serious as well. And we do our best to not just address the needs of our department, but to think larger about our responsibility to the enterprise and through the enterprise to the city as a whole. And so with that, I would also say that we have identified on this slide what we've been asked to address in terms of the fiscal challenges that have been forecast to us by the administration and in line with the mayor's direction to all departments, what we would absorb as a reduction to our base budget in the 2026 supplemental process. And as shown on this slide, that total is 1.7% of a reduction. It equals approximately $445,000. We are proposing to take that out of the clerk's operating budget. This planned reduction covers the entire department, meaning that with this 1.75% reduction, it addresses reductions that include the City Council, the Office of Clerk, and the Office of Auditor. So in terms of impact, we anticipate that this reduction would reduce the department's discretionary non-personnel related operations. So we're thinking contracts, professional services, things of that nature. At this point, we do not anticipate that there would be significant impacts to the delivery of the department's core services because of this reduction. And before I move forward, Madam President or Madam Vice President, in your briefing materials, we also provided you a document that was entitled Who We Are. I wanted to take just a minute to explain that document. As you know, there have been discussions by this body about the need for department business plans, which are included in some of the city's financial policies. I know President Payne is interested in seeing business plans return to the city as a critical management control function, as was done in previous years. This document is our attempt to develop that business plan for the legislative department, though I must point out this first iteration is focused exclusively on the clerk's office. As you can see, the document identifies our shared purpose, our high-level strategic outcomes, our operating values, and details about each of our major divisions and lines of business. For each of the divisions, we have provided you with a brief narrative about our core functions, details about the budgetary impact of those divisions within the larger context of our department, and we have identified a high-level series of goals for each division that will lead to the future development of specific performance metrics against our department's established goals. We've also identified all of the teams in each of these divisions and provided a section about our budget and financing issues and concluded with an organizational chart to visually reflect the structure of the clerk's office. We hope this document provides some additional insight into the clerk's office. We look forward to further building out on this base document or template, I'd call it, for example, by adding the specific metrics for each of our division's goals and then tying that work back to strategic goals and priorities identified by the mayor and council for the city enterprise. With that, we've completed our prepared presentation, Madam Vice President, and we are all available to respond to questions the committee might have.
Thank you all, Clerk Carl, Auditor Timmerman, and Director Zhang. Thank you for this presentation and walking us through your supplemental budget, along with providing that secondary document. I've had a chance to review it. It's thorough and concise. Colleagues, are there any questions or comments? I will note that we've also been joined in this committee by Councilmember Cashman. I'm seeing several colleagues jumping into queue, so we will begin with Councilmember Palmisano.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I guess before I begin, I'm just going to acknowledge that my remarks or questions might be a little foggy today due to the tragedies of this weekend. My first question is about elections. I'm a little bit confused about the $6.2 million one-time request for election services. Slide 5 made it sound like it was already accounted for. But Ms. Zhang presented on slide 8 that this is maybe still a one-time request. Can you just clarify that?
Through the chair, Councilmember Palmisano, yes, it is a one-time request, and yes, it has been put into the mayor's recommended supplemental. So this is just simply identifying that it is a one-time request. It does exist. At this point, the amount we requested is reflected as shown on this slide and would allow us to do this work for the gubernatorial election. I'll let our director, Ms. Smith, explain how that works. The elections budget really has two components, and so this is that second component, which deals with the administration of a specific election in a cycle.
Welcome, Director Smith. If you'll first begin by introducing yourself.
Thank you. Thank you, Clerk Carl, and thank you to Chair Shugtai and members of committee. My name is Katie Smith. I'm the Director of Elections and Voter Services with the City of Minneapolis. This one-time funding is already reflected within our request as described. The $6.2 million is the additional funding required to run the gubernatorial election. It's on top of our standard annual budget. Our standard annual budget accounts for things like our permanent staffing, the people that are here year in, year out, regardless of what type of election. This $6.2 million reflects the needs for next year specifically for running the primary and the general. It's the temporary workers that will be administering early voting, administering all of our functions that are testing all of the equipment and getting all of our items sent in and returned and accounted for. It's all of the election judges that are serving at the polling place, all of those things really tied to just that 1 year. So it's just to supplement the ongoing. Happy to answer any other election-related questions as well.
Thank you. I don't have any other election-related questions, but Director Smith, thank you. And I understand that the way that, election cycles work, this is not really discretionary or up to us. This is about the size of different elections and the kind of staffing that we need to support it and to support democracy. I do have a question on the unplanned costs that were spoken about at the end. The $856,000 of unplanned costs, can you help me understand how that was covered this year? Was it out of the legislative department general operating, or was it out of those discretionary funds?
Madam Vice President, Councilmember Palmisano, these are absorbed within the clerk's office general fund. So we routinely will have year-end funding available due to unfilled vacant positions, so we can reallocate those funds. Travel, training, professional development, things of that nature, which we have routinely not taken advantage of as the clerk's office for many years, because we then will use that to fund really necessary and important work. I'll just refer to the first item on here, the LIMS accessibility audit. So we're very proud, obviously, of LIMS as a system of record, not just for the council and its committees, but for all of our boards and commissions, which includes not just information about their meetings and calendars and notices, but their agendas, their records, their minutes, and reports. We found out through feedback through the Advisory Committee on People with Disabilities that there were challenges in terms of access for those who need accessible device to access LIMS and the information contained in it. So we have undertaken on a priority basis an accessibility audit using outside firms to work with both my office and our vendor, DataNet, who develops LIMS, to ensure that we have thoroughly evaluated and tested each page to make sure that it is compliant with web standards for accessibility. The estimated total impact of that is anywhere up to a $200,000 impact. So that was unplanned, and we will shift monies internally to prioritize the completion of that audit and the conversion of all of our pages and LIMS to be accessible with national standards for accessibility.
Thank you. And thank you for pointing out earlier that these costs are for things that support the entire enterprise. If your budget was cut by 1.7%, as you outlined on one of the later slides, that would impact the ability to cover these unplanned costs in the future. Is that right?
Through the chair, it would affect our ability to cover some, but not all of this. What really will offset us is we've made a priority with Ms. Zhang, who, of course, as all of you know, has a background in human resources, to fill our vacant positions. So for many, many years, it's been a trade-off of do we fill vacant positions or do we reapply those vacancy savings to operating needs? I have prioritized operating needs not just for our department, but also where we partner with the enterprise. That's unfair to the staff, obviously, because they're carrying extra work. It's also meaning some work that this body has prioritized, I'll say, for example, outreach, communications, and engagement with the community, don't get filled. And so we are now prioritizing filling our staff positions. That will reduce a significant variable that we've used and leveraged to use operating funds. And so the filling of those vacant positions combined with the reduction in our base budget will affect our ability to handle a lot of these unplanned and unanticipated costs into the future.
That's helpful. Thank you. Madam Chair, I have some serious concerns about audit, but I think I'll get back in line and let others take a turn here.
If that sounds wonderful, thank you. Council Member Wansley.
Thank you, Chair Chuck Ty. Actually, going off of that kind of response to Council Member Palmisano's question, I did not see also the comms role that Council had funded, I believe last budget cycle, unless you can point it somewhere on here to me, but I know this is something that we've had conversations around in terms of it being a major need of this body in terms of how we share out the work that's going forward, and sometimes that's not fully connecting with the city's overall comms department, and really wanted to make sure that our constituents are kept up to date on what we're also doing as a body and have our news bites and things of that nature. So wanted to get a sense of, I get you all are prioritizing vacancy savings for operating costs, but also knowing that this body did prioritize that position and wanted to get a sense or a status update on hiring, advancement of that particular role.
Thank you. Through the chair, Councilmember Wansley, on this screen you'll see the third bullet under 12 reclassifications, the manager of outreach and constituent services. This is that job. So This is the job that will handle communications, outreach, community engagement, and activities of that nature. It is being reclassified from an interdepartmental liaison, which we were given in the budget process at a lower grade, to a management level position. We are using some of that discretionary money to offset the difference in costs between the two grades, and we'll open up recruitment. Ms. Zhang is leading that recruitment and that effort on behalf of the department. We've highly prioritized this as something to get done this summer. That position will oversee the two constituent services coordinators that we have on staff already. And into the future, we have, as we've presented previously, on future build-out, in a 10-year plan of this, we see one or two additional positions that fill out what would be then the new team or division of outreach and constituent services, which would handle communications, media relations, community engagement, outreach, and constituent services on behalf of the legislative department. It would be our department's primary interface and liaison into the administration with related agencies that would include, as you note, the city communications department, the neighborhood and community relations department, our 311 service center, the mayor's constituent services team, and others. So it is this position highlighted on this screen that is key to that function being developed and the first person being hired.
Yeah, I definitely would like to talk more with council leadership in terms of how we landed here, in terms of, and also when you finalize the job description around it, because still in there I'm hearing that the comms priorities that this body is need, that still will be delayed in the rollout of this new division of sorts where this manager will be heading up or developing.
Council Vice President, very quickly, no.
Yeah.
Those communications functions are also part of this person's responsibility. Their portfolio will include communications and media relations, outreach, community engagement, and constituent services. Okay. So although the title doesn't say communications, that is one of the top functions that they will be responsible for providing for the council and the legislative department.
Great. Still, once the job description is finalized, if we can get a copy of that, just to make sure also that is explicitly shared, maybe you do percentage outlines of how that work will function in this role, so that would be great to have. Something else too, in relationship to the strategic planning piece, just a comment. I know I think it was actually on this and also the slide you just transitioned from. We're going to be having a conversation in our Public Health and Safety Committee around the city attorney's new opinion regarding strategic planning. And I would love to have a fuller conversation of if that's going to also impact either unplanned costs or the cost for essentially the opinion that our city attorneys are now saying that we can no longer do strategic plans in collaboration with the executive branch. So I know we had brief conversations around that in our Public Health and Safety Committee at the end of December, and I think we're working to also get the city attorney to present on this because it's going to have, I would say, consequential impacts, but I know you've done a lot of work to really solidify like our strategic planning processes ahead of next year, and want to get very clear of like how the city attorney's new opinion will impact that and if we need to make adjustments, and then the financial like repercussions of that. So that still feels like that might be in flux based off of where we go from those conversations with the CAO's office.
Through the chair, I'll just say I appreciate those comments, Councilmember Wansley. I'm happy to follow up with you offline and help in terms of bringing forward some clarity on that issue. I've had the opportunity to have discussions with City Attorney Anderson and with her Chief Deputy, Mr. Abelson, and I think we're closer in alignment than maybe that had appeared in the past. So I'll make sure to follow up with you and appreciate the note for us to think about as we finalize our budget.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Next, I will recognize Councilmember Cashman, followed by Councilmember Chowdhury.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Clerk Carl, for the presentation, and Ms. Zhang. I wanted to follow up on the comms piece as well. I, understand that this is managing the constituent services team. I do feel like constituent services is something that our council offices do very well, but what we can't necessarily do is coordinate with the comms teams of the city, especially in emergencies. I mean, we saw this tested over the weekend about how much information is being shared transparently with us so that we can share it transparently with our constituents. And in the vacuum of correct information comes misinformation and disinformation, and then that's going to happen even more in our city. And so what's really important for me for this position, which I think our leadership had foresight about when they budgeted for it years ago, was that we need to be able to tell accurate information to our constituents in a timely way, and we're not currently given any support to do that. So I want to make sure that they're not given like 10% of their weekly hours to do this when it's clearly, I think for a lot of us, the very important thing that we want this person to do. Secondly, wanted to ask about the body-worn camera expenditure that was put on the legislative department, or asked of the legislative department. What was the circumstance around that?
Through the chair, Councilmember Cashman, a few years ago, the responsibility for handling the processing and release of data gathered through police body-worn cameras was transferred from the police department to the clerk's office, to our information governance division. So the first transition was transferring responsibility for data practices review response from MPD, which had their own unit, to the clerk's office, and then following that came the transfer of responsibility for body-worn camera. That was sent to us as a one-time pilot project, and so we've had to absorb some additional funding responsible for some temporary work and some initial work on deciding what types of systems the clerk's office now needs to invest in as we take on the responsibility for handling the processing of requests that involve data collected through body-worn cameras. And I will note, because I can see this will open up another discussion, there are laws that affect data that are collected through body-worn cameras worn by peace officers or law enforcement officials. There are different laws that affect other public servants who may wear body-worn cameras. And those are different, and there's going to be an impact on the city enterprise, and in particular on our data practices unit that has the responsibility for reviewing and providing lead response on behalf of the enterprise in that regard. So this is monies that we put into that ongoing pilot project as a one-time need of $68,000, I'll say, in order to help support the transition from MPD to the clerk's office.
Okay, and where will that expense live on an ongoing basis going forward?
Through the chair, Councilmember Cashman, it will live within the Information Governance Division of the Clerk's Office, which is the centralized agency within the city enterprise responsible for handling, processing, receiving, and responding to data requests. So it will be housed within our office. I anticipate there will be a future budgetary request for systems and support that are necessary. When it was transitioned to us, we didn't know what that would require. So we got a one-time pilot project funding amount. And so that project funding will expire. This is the additional money that we've put into that project. We will have to come forward in the future to council to ask for an ongoing amount of funding to support systems and possibly people.
And that's not in the ask for 2026?
It is not right now, Councilmember Cashman, because we're still finishing that pilot project. We haven't even developed and acquired a software system yet.
Okay, thanks. Well, my last question is for the chair and vice chair, which is about the supplemental document, legislative department, who we are. Can you explain who developed this template and what the purpose of it is and how you expect other departments to use it?
Thank you for that question, Councilmember Cashman. I'm really thrilled that you ask it. I'm actually going to ask Council President Payne to speak to this item, as this was something that was very, very important to him, and worked closely with the clerk and leaders of the legislative department to develop.
Thank you, Vice President Chuck Ty. This came up when we did our annual rollover, and we were looking at the financial policies, and the financial policies explicitly named business plans as part of the requirement for a valid rollover request. And we came to learn that we have not done business planning in roughly a decade. It sounds, roughly a decade. And so I had a very strong belief that we either needed to restart this process of business planning or amend our financial policies. I think what we want out of this is some clarity as to why money is getting spent or not getting spent, and having that align with a broader set of goals to a strategic plan. So we're kind of iterating towards a more comprehensive strategic planning process by modeling what we want to see at an enterprise level through the department that we have agency over. So that's what this document represents.
Okay, thanks. I'm wondering if there is, a part in here that really reflects like the flexibility of the budget. Sounds like what you're trying to get at is an indication from the department about how clear-cut the budgeting process is and how much leeway they have.
Through the chair, and this is even in practice, as we see, we felt that the communications role was of vital importance, and our department leader had a broader operational view and prioritized using some of that vacancy savings for things that maybe we didn't have visibility into. This is our ability to bring more alignment to those types of decisions.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thanks. And then I know outcomes, reflecting the outcomes of our departmental work is very important, and I'm wondering if that needs to be fleshed out a little bit more, because I do see that it's at the top, our strategic outcomes, in a very top-line way. Is that the level of outcomes that you're expecting from all departments, or are you wanting more like fine-grained outcomes from various budget lines?
Mr. Clerk, do you want to speak to this? I'll say this is an iterative document, and we definitely want to include actual, measurable, achievable KPIs within this type of document, but Mr. Clerk, if you wanted to speak to it.
Thank you, Council President, and through the chair, Councilmember Cashman. I hope I said this when I introduced the concept in my remarks, but as the Council President has said, it's an iterative process. This is our first attempt to start the process of identifying not only our business lines, but then what do those business lines deliver? What services are they doing? What outcomes do we seek to achieve through those? So Elections and Voter Services is a business line. Mm-hmm. One of its most important outcomes is that we tabulate and count every ballot accurately. Right? So that outcome then will have metrics associated with it. We've worked with both our performance management innovation team, but also internally with our legislative research and oversight team to sort of build the high-level frame. And now we need to go into each of those goals or core objectives within the business lines to identify specific metrics that will show us, did we achieve that outcome? Did we achieve that goal? And then align both resources, meaning people and money and systems and tools, but also what was our effect? What did we achieve in that area?
Okay, so you're planning to flush that out for the various business lines of the department?
Correct.
Great. And then when would you present that, or would you present it to us in committee, or would it be living somewhere else?
Through the chair, because we only have control over ourselves, we're modeling what I think would be helpful from the administration. And so for our perspective, this is a living document that we are continuing to improve and revisit on a regular basis. It would be my hope that when we come back to the Budget Committee as part of the fulsome budget process, we have more details to share. So because we report to the council, we get this preliminary hit at all of you to say, here's where we're at and what we think. But when all of the departments come forward, we will also come forward again, and that will be a chance for us to hopefully have an updated and more fulsome example to share with you.
Okay. I apologize. I have just a couple more questions about this document.
Go ahead.
Sorry if I missed this in the very beginning, but what is the our culture section supposed to really tell us?
Through the chair, I'll say, for me, it was an attempt to show that in our department there are two sort of operating cultures, and they drive how we work. When we are here in the chamber, or when we're in front of voters, or when we're dealing with the public, we are what I call on stage. But we have a very collaborative, more informal, off-stage or behind-the-scenes culture where we want our staff to be innovative, to work together across divisions. And so it's a way of both recognizing that there are two different types of cultures depending on what setting we're in and what we're doing, but also so that the staff, this is not just a document for council, it's a document for our department as well, can say, oh, that's why. So that's why we take seriously when we have our clerks meetings and we talk about what it takes to be a clerk, and we train on the procedures that go into council. And we talk about the formality at council meetings. That's an on-stage performance. There is the off-stage, which is the clerks meeting regularly, talking together. What challenges have you experienced at your committee? How does that affect my work? So it's both the on-stage, off-stage duality or reality of the legislative department's operating culture.
Okay, thanks. That's a lot more clear now. Just lastly, the title of this document is Legislative Department Who We Are. Would it be appropriate to rename it Legislative Department Business Plan to clarify that this is supposed to be a business plan? Because it just wasn't totally clear to me in the title that who we are wasn't quite, I didn't quite understand the purpose.
Through the chair, yes, I'll note that as one. The other thing I'll say is this started early on before the business plan conversation started as a way of bringing on new employees. We're going through a lot of transition and change, as all of you are aware. So it started out as an orientation, sort of, here's who we are that you're joining, and it morphed into, hey, there's a lot of stuff that really would inform a business plan. And so probably does make sense to change how we refer to it.
Great, yeah, I can understand the two purposes of it and the reason for calling it that when it's shared with the team and business plan for when it's being presented to the public. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next, I will recognize Councilmember Palmisano.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I wanted a chance to connect with the auditor about some of these requests for audit. Thank you, Director Timmerman. Back on, I think it was slide 15, you note that the auditor's office has 8 FTEs. Does this include the 4 new positions that were just approved last cycle?
Chair Chugtai and Councilmember Palmisano, no, it does not. So the slide that we're looking at now does include those.
Right.
So the green boxes indicate the positions that were recently passed. It was the Quality Assurance and Training Manager to meet needs of our professional standards. It's the Administrative Assistant, and it's 2 of the auditors in the new division that we've discussed.
Right, so really you have 12, even if, though they haven't been hired and brought into your office, you do have 12.
Correct.
Colleagues, I understand the auditor's vision, but in this budget crisis, I strongly object to asking for another 3 positions in audit all next year. This body, not me, but this body gave them 4 positions last cycle. 4. 1 from CPED, 1 from Reg Services, which was the one I had the biggest problem with. It is about public safety for that one, and 2 from MPD. Let's give this department an opportunity to see how these new positions impact their capacity before suggesting more. That would be 7 new positions in 6 months. We have seen time and time again where departments or divisions try to grow too fast, too quickly, and it doesn't go well. For those of you that have met with the mayor about budget priorities, you know that this year's budget development process has been going by asking heads of departments to decrease costs. These actions run very much afoul of this, and I can't support this because of it. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm not seeing, or I'm going to give any other colleagues that have additional questions an opportunity to get in queue, but I put myself in queue, just had a couple of questions or maybe comments instead. I wanted to reference that slide in which we go over unplanned or unanticipated costs that were absorbed by the legislative department, and $856,000 worth. There are a number of things here that, I believe every single one of these unplanned events that led to adjustments to the legislative department budget are important and were really necessary investments that needed to be made. One that really stands out to me is the temp for closed captioning and monitoring that process. Our closed captioning services and our broadcast services are managed by the city's communications department. And so this was a cost that really should have been incurred by the communications department and was incurred by us to prevent additional problems with our closed captioning services, something that we take a lot of pride in providing accessibility to our community. So really understand why we made this investment, really grateful that the leaders of our legislative department made that choice. But, these are the types of unanticipated costs that I believe will often come up, or, something like the 2026 inauguration catches my attention, which is something that doesn't just affect the legislative department, is an enterprise-wide thing. The inauguration, the primary principle that speaks at the inauguration is really the highlight of that event is the mayor. And so, but this is a pretty significant cost that we incurred, the legislative department incurs. So, I'm grateful that this is a way that we choose to step up every time the enterprise has a need that's urgent, and I hope in the future these are moments when these choice points are presented to the leaders of our legislative department, that we can work together to make sure that we're doing our fair share, instead of giving and having to put off making key investments in core lines of business and service. With that, I am not seeing any further discussion, so I will move approval of directing the council president and vice president to transmit these recommendations to the mayor. Do I have a second?
Second.
That item has been properly moved and seconded. I will ask the clerk to call the roll.
Councilmember Payne.
Aye.
Walmsley.
Aye.
Rainville.
No.
Vita.
No.
Ellison is absent. Osman.
Aye.
Cashman.
Aye.
Jenkins.
Nay.
Chavez.
Aye.
Chowdhury.
Aye.
Palmisano.
No.
Vice Chair Koski.
Aye.
And Chair Chugtai.
Aye.
There are 8 ayes and 5 nays.
That motion carries. Our final item today is a receive and file comprehensive report on completed solicitations and contracts.
Excuse me,
Sorry.
there's only 12 of us here.
So 7 ayes and 5 nays. Sorry, 8 ayes and 4 nays.
4 nays, yes, sorry, I misspoke.
Thank you for catching that. So on the motion to direct the council president and myself to transmit these recommendations to the mayor, that was approved 8-4. Okay, back to our final receive and file item. So this is completed solicitations and contracts under $175,000 from 2015 to 2025. Pam Fernandez, Director of Procurement, will be speaking on this item. Welcome, Director.
And Vice Chair Koski and members of the committee. My name is Pam Fernandez, and I'm the Director of Procurement. So, as the Chair mentioned, the presentation today is relating to 10 years of data of contracts or purchases that are under $175,000. So that $175,000 is not a magic number. This is the state statute allowed limit for cities. So this is the 471.345. That is the statute that allows any municipalities to have purchases under 175 to be done in an informal method. So when we say informal method, it will still be a bid, it will still be an RFP, but it is like, more, a little more towards like our target market program, or like other small businesses gets a chance to do it. So I'm sorry, I don't have a PowerPoint presentation today, so I brought a PDF, so I'm going to be going like that. a little too much. So the Councilmember Koski's legislative directive was for like a few different items. And so the way I'm doing this presentation is I'm going to go through each directive. So you can see right now the entire number 1 directive. There are 3 pieces to that one. And I'm presenting here mostly the professional services and the construction services purchases. So those are our 2 major categories. Then there's like commodities and, other different types of purchases, which is not the subject of the presentation today. Okay. So when we do the small dollar purchases, that is the under 5,000, that is the process that I'm going to talk about first. The applicable policies and procedures for any time we do an under 5,000 purchase is, first of all, it needs to go through a target market program vendor, if there are 3 or more vendors who can provide that one. And then the second one is the small dollar purchases procedure. This procedure is set by the chief financial officer. So she could, it used to be 2,500, and now we have 5,000. And also, this is all because, the price of the things are going up. So 2,500 really doesn't get us or get the departments anywhere sometimes. So we just had to raise that one to $5,000. And this finance officer has the authority to change that at any time. Department staff is responsible for these purchases, and procurement is not directly involved with that one. However, we are indirectly involved in the sense that these purchases can be made by purchasing cards. So it has a limit that these small purchases can be made at, or they will be able to issue a purchase order. Procurement is involved in the payment level. And also if purchasing card is used, then we are involved, but it's not, the approval is still rests with the department. So legislative directive number 1B was the process for purchases between 5,000 and 175,000. Again, keep in mind these are informal limits. So the city can create its own procedures for buying these things. So here, the department staff will work with procurement staff on all purchases above 5,000 and up to 175. An informal bid or an informal RFP will be created. And if there are 3 or more target market program vendors, then that particular purchase have to go through the target market program vendors, and they get to bid on it first. If there are not enough vendors in the TMP pool, then we will open it up to all vendors available in the TMP, plus anybody else that is interested. I mean, it will be like an open event anyway. Anybody can apply for it. And then the contract is awarded. If it is a bid, the contract is awarded for the low responsible bidder, and this is the case with any commodities and construction purchases. It'll be a low bid situation, and that is per the state statute. And the other one for the professional services, if they meet all the requirements that we stated in the RFP, then they will be chosen that way. So price is not the most important factor when it comes to professional consulting services. In the selection of the commodities, construction, or professional services, it's all approved by the department head or their designee and procurement staff. The selection of the contractor for professional services is made entirely by the department staff, because procurement staff is not always the expert on certain type of purchases, like IT, for example. We won't be the experts on telling them who is the best vendor for it. And a contract or a purchase order is put in place by procurement staff, and department staff, and this is important to understand too, the department staff manages the work under the contract. It's not procurement. So there is a contract manager for every contract that we, initiate, and that person is responsible for managing the contract, making sure the work is done, the invoices are reviewed and approved on time. Number 1C is about the target market program purchasing process. So I already mentioned that if there are 3 vendors who can provide the same type of service, then we call that a TMP purchase or a TMP opportunity. There are about 2,700 small businesses in the 13-county metro area that is already registered with us. So that's a pretty nice, bucket of small businesses that City of Minneapolis has. So the program is going really well. It's a race and gender neutral program, and all purchases under 175 will go to the TMP vendors first. So that is something that I wanted to, again, note specifically that when our purchase informal threshold limit was lower, say like 50,000 or 100,000, that many less purchasing or contracting opportunity went to the small businesses. So that is the reason that as soon as state elevated that number from 100 to 175, our city leaders followed that one, because then that way we could bring more purchases, more businesses into the TMP pool. Okay, so 175,000 right now is really good, and when the state changes that again or raises that again, I ask that we follow the suit because it's helping the small businesses. Last year, 2024, we did 53.5 million worth of businesses with this target market program. So that number was 40 million in 2023. So significant increase and significant participation, a lot of interest from departments in unbundling contract opportunities and making sure that the small businesses are getting them. So the legislative number 2 asked for a report detailing all completed solicitations and contracts under 175,000 from 2015 to 2025. So when we were doing this 10-year reporting, as you know, like we didn't have like an electronic purchasing system until like February of 2019. So we pulled this data from 2 different systems where anything prior to 2019 was manual. We didn't we couldn't source like every purchase in the city, even though we had a centralized procurement office. So from 2019, all purchases would come over like through a workflow, electronic workflow. Everything will come to purchasing if it's over 5,000. So that is how. That is why, like when you look at that report, sometimes the 2015 data is like in single digits. That's because we don't have the data, but we pulled everything we can into those reports. So there are 2 reports there. They are like. One is 81 pages and the other, I think, is about 50 pages long. But that shows you all the contracts for professional services and construction services as 1A and 1B. It's attached to the RCA. The legislative number 3 was an analysis of procurement trends in completed solicitations. So there are like many questions underneath that one, and I'm going to quickly go through them. Some of them, the numbers are on the slides, and some of them it's too big, so it's in an exhibit that is with the RCA. So procurement methods used citywide for professional services contract, you can see here. Direct award by department means like there was no sourcing process used for that one for whatever reason that we had. Maybe there was like unique, specialty consulting services that we had to have. And then they do like, some kind of like a sole sourcing or like a single sourcing process for that one. So those are the direct awards that you see there. And then the informal RFP, that is again like the informal events that we published, which are like open to everybody. And then the target market program, also you can see how many of them were target market specific ones. Professional services contracts are usually, we don't have like a lot of vendors in that one with the specialty that we are looking for. So professional services contracts are like little lower in the target market program participation. These are the construction contracts under 175,000, and as you can see, we have data from mid-2019 through 2025, March 31st. So majority of our informal bids are going through TMP, so 206 out of 249 actually were TMP participated events. And then informal bids where we had to open it up for everybody was just 43. So distribution of contracts citywide. This is provided in the exhibit number 2, which are also like many pages long, but you can see like which departments had and how many contracts. You'll see that Public Works is our number 1 department with the most contracts. This is the construction services contracts citywide information. So this is exactly how the professional services one is provided to, except it is a little too long. Okay. Legislative number 3C, frequency of each procurement method used by department. So this particular one will show you how many of them were like TMP specific and informal or direct awards. And the same thing for construction services here. So 3D was asking about number and nature of contract amendments here. So as you can see, like the percentage of contracts that were amended and the most common reasons for amendments. So on the professional services side, it was mostly about, they needed like additional time to complete the services. Then it would be just a time extension, or they need like, a little more money to complete the work. So it's usually like, the contract managers are estimating the work that is needed and the money that is needed. And sometimes it may go a little bit above. And any time, if it goes above 175,000, it is coming back to the council. Okay, for approval. So you are seeing it when something goes over that informal threshold. So overall, it is like a 24% of our 2,990 contracts got amended in the professional services side. For construction services, it is way less. As you can see, it's only like 0.09%, which is like 2 out of 2,207 construction purchase orders or contracts were amended. And usually that is because you ask somebody to do a work, and sometimes it's like a demolition, for example. They go in and they'll find something else buried underneath, or like maybe bad soil or something like that. So they have to clean out all of that, and we have to pay additional. So those are some of the times that a construction contract might get amended. So number of unique vendors awarded contracts each year from 2015 through March 31st, 2025. Professional services contract, number of unique vendors. So we used 1,706 vendors to create the 2,990 contracts overall. So we have a good participation, good number of vendors actually participating in the city business. In the construction services area, the number of unique vendors were 221, and the total number of contracts were 2,200. And the reason for this one is these are low bids, so only those folks that can afford to submit a low bid is getting that contract. So the number of unique vendors is lower, and that when you compare with the total number of contracts. Number of instances where the same vendor was awarded multiple contracts in the same year. So the professional services contracts, I have attached exhibit number 6 and have marked up the unique, or the same vendor that was awarded multiple times. For professional services, is maybe 2 or 3 at the most in a year. But for construction, you'll see that the number is a little more higher, and the reason for that one is, again, it's a low bid. And you will also see, certain vendors are getting maybe, more than 20 or a large number of contracts. And reason for that one, again, is these are small works, and a good example would be the water line repairs close to the residences or the sewer line repairs. Each of these works are bidded separately, so we do hundreds of bids just for that one, because we need to do each one separately to make sure that the cost is exactly what it would actually cost. So we were asked, what are some of the recommendations on how the city can improve transparency and accountability in procurement policies and practices. So I would request that I need your help in understanding, where you see the accountability or transparency is missing, because in our opinion, this goes through every single purchase, goes through many approvals from the department and also from procurement when it's over 5,000. So we would like to know, where is that transparency issue or an accountability issue that you're seeing, and then we can work on that one. So there is transparency in the process, all the opportunities are presented to target market program, and this one we are doing it through the system. So we have all the TMP vendors marked by category. So every time we want to do a bid, those can be pulled automatically, and an invitation is sent to them where they can come in and bid for that opportunity. And so Chair Wansley's request, the purchasing ordinance is being revised to provide a quarterly report of all the professional services contracts under 175,000. So I think that would give you a view into what is going through the professional services contract under 175, if that is something that you're interested in. And that concludes my presentation here. I have additional links provided in here if you're interested, and also wanted to say that we have the OpenGov portal. It's working, so anytime you want to see any information specific to TMP or any contracts, it is out there. I'll stand for any questions.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Director, for your presentation. Colleagues, are there any questions or comments related to this presentation? I'll first recognize Vice Chair Koski, followed by Councilmember Palmisano.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you so much, Director. And I just greatly appreciate, excuse me, all the work that you put into this and your team. I know it was a tremendous undertaking to do a 10-year look back, so I'm just beyond grateful for the work. I know I did send you a few questions last week, and I know you might have to get back to me, but I just, on the record, wanted to ask you a few questions and so the first one is in the presentation, part number 3D. I'm not sure if it's easy to go back to that. It's okay if you can't, but you talk about the amendments, and so I think it's important to reiterate, because when I first saw amendment, I didn't, you re-clarified to me that amendment can mean a cost change, it can mean a time change, that an amendment doesn't just mean cost. But I would like to know, do you know, it says I think it was 24%, we saw did have amendments, whether it was a time change or a cost change. I'm wondering what the average cost of a contract amendment was, and if you have that information. And if there were any amendments that stood out unusually large or outside the scope of a typical or reasonable change, whether due to a substantial increase in cost or an extension of time or significant shift in scope of deliverables.
Okay. To Chair Chaktai and Vice Chair Koski, it is a little bit hard to kind of reason out that amendment, like a percentage or an amount. But what I could say is that usually they are very small. Usually they are like, like I said, extension of time, or it will be like a addition of the same scope. So we don't allow anybody to add on to like a new scope to a contract normally. And if it is, then it has to go through the PRC committee and all of that too. But what I could say is that there are normally like very little changes to the contract, but you will see a couple of, or like maybe a few of them that are IT contracts, or technology related. It's not, I'm not saying like IT department, but technology related contracts or something like that, where someone would have started a pilot project, and this is like beyond 2019. Like somebody would have started a pilot project, then it becomes like, okay, now we cannot get out of that one because it's too much into the system. And then so we decide, we go back and look at it and get a good price for that one, and then kind of extend that contract, increase that contract. You will see that those kind of contracts in the past that happen. But now we don't allow, pilot projects for the most part, because we know that it'll grow in the city system. So we ask them to do an RFP, even if it is a small one. And another,
Okay.
I'll say that,
Okay, and then just like the overall cost of that, I know the 24% isn't always a cost increase, but is there a dollar amount that we can attach to that, or is that too difficult to configure?
We can do that.
Okay.
We can provide you that information.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate that. The next questions I have are related to the exhibits specifically. Exhibit 1, there appear to be a number of contracts listed with total amounts exceeding the $175,000 threshold. Additionally, some of these higher value contracts appear to have been procured using methods designated for contracts under that threshold. Can you just clarify why these contracts are included in this report and explain the procurement rationale for that?
Okay, through Chair Chaktai and Vice Chair Koski, the reason is the same that I was just mentioning. It is like smaller contracts started as a pilot program and then just growing into something bigger.
Okay, gotcha.
And so it doesn't happen anymore, so I cannot assure you that one too.
Okay, thank you. That's helpful.
Yeah.
There wasn't a lot. There just were all of a sudden a few that were 300, and I understand, and I could see that. I could go back in limbs, and I could trace that back to us approving it.
Yes.
I just was wondering why it was captured in the report. So thank you. A significant number of contracts are missing an entry in the event type field, which we understand reflects the procurement method. These omissions spans across the entire, 10 years. Can you explain why this information is missing and whether it was not recorded or available?
So Chair Chaktai and Vice Chair Koski, if all the information that was available in the system is put into this report. So if you are seeing a blank area any place, it's because that might have been a direct award contract, or it might have been like a sole source, single source type contract. And anything beyond 2019, like mid-2019 and beyond, we don't have an event information.
Okay.
Because we didn't have anything in our electronic system for
Okay,
that.
so it's not like a drop-down that's required or asked?
No, there was no system.
Right.
Manual,
right,
paper.
Right, that's right. Okay, thank you. Okay, in exhibit number 2, over the past decade, there's been a noticeable and steady decline in the number of professional services contracts under $175,000, roughly from about 400 to fewer than 200 in recent years. Can you provide insight of what you believe is driving this trend? Is the reduction due to policy changes, budget constraints, shifts towards other procurement methods, just the increased cost of initial contracts, or any other reasons?
Chair Chaktai, Vice Chair Koski, all of the reasons that you just mentioned. First of all, it was a policy change going from, like a lower informal threshold to the 175,000. And then the second thing is like cost for everything has increased. So departments are realizing that if they start a contract under 175 as an informal RFP, they will have to come, if they wanted to go over that amount, they have to go through additional steps. So they would start with an over 175 process, so that if it comes under 175, that's okay. But if it's over 175, they are safe to proceed without losing much time.
Okay. And remind me again when we made the change from 100,000 to 175, when the state?
Yeah. It was December of 2018, so we started on 2019, January 1st.
Okay, all right, thank you. I now have just 2 more questions. Exhibit number 3, can you just clarify what the data not available category represents in this data?
Yeah, data not available is the one where we don't have the event information, like was it a bid or was it an RFP? We don't have that.
Okay, perfect. And then in Exhibit 7, you may have just answered this at the very end in your presentation, but just wanted to re-clarify. This is about the vendors overall, like the multiple vendors. So 5 vendors stand out with noticeably higher numbers of contracts, each having over 20 contracts in multiple years. I just pulled out 20. It's kind of hard to make a decision, but just did 20 as a, can you please provide a breakdown of the procurement method most frequently used? And additionally, can you clarify whether the high volume of contracts is due to these vendors offering unique or specialized services, being top performers, or other factors? But I maybe also heard you say that I'm using my house as an example, and you went in and did a project right in front of my house, and then you do a project next door, and those are all unique. Is that the case, or are there other reasons too?
Chair Chaktai, Vice Chair Koski, yes, that is the reason. So, the length of the pipe, I'm just saying I'm not the technical expert on this one, but the length of the pipe between the sidewalk and the house property line would be different for different people, and so Public Works would bid each of that work separately, so that they get an exact cost of what it would be, because I think it might go into other costs that is related to the city or the residents. So they will do that very diligently. They'll do that one. And one other thing is that all those vendors that you're seeing, where they're getting multiple contracts, they're all TMP vendors too.
Gotcha.
There are about 11 or 12 of them that does that kind of work.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And again, thank you so much for the thorough response to this legislative directive. I'm very grateful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, I'll recognize Councilmember Palmisano, followed by Councilmember Cashman.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Ms. Fernandez, for this presentation. I had no doubt your
your report here would reflect that we have a transparent system and that contracts under $175,000 followed an open and a competitive solicitation process. I'm curious, could you help explain what an informal bid is and how it differs from an RFP? And that goes from earlier, slide 6 in your presentation. I read it as meaning there's still a transparent process that is led by procurement. But is that accurate?
Chair Chaktai and Councilmember Palmisano, yes, that is correct. Everything over 5,000 to 175,000 need to go through that event. We call it an event, which could be a bid or an RFP. So RFP is for the professional services and bid is for commodities and construction. So that informal, formal wording come from the statute where the 175,000 and under, the cities can actually put their own procedure for purchasing those items. So that's where that informal is coming from. So anything under 175,000, whether RFP or bid, they both will be informal.
Mm-hmm. The main difference seems like these smaller contracts don't go before council for approval. And from what I saw, it looks like, and from the time I had to go through this, that many of them are water related, like emergency repairs, like replacing lines and plumbing stuff. So they're both urgent and critical.
Yes.
I'm curious, do you have a sense of this? I'm not asking for follow-up on it, but what percentage of our contracts under $175,000 go to our target market program vendors?
Chair Chaktai, Councilmember Palmisano, I don't have that exact number here. I mean, I have the numbers here, but not the percentage.
Sure. I'm curious, I guess, for that matter, what percentage of any of our contracts go to target market program vendors? But that's just kind of a question. I would imagine that in these urgent, critical kinds of bid type scenarios, that isn't the top priority. The top priority is to get a broken water main fixed.
Councilmember Palmisano, that is correct. The under 175,000, that really helps the departments to get their business going, because if they have to wait for council approval on each of those kind of purchases, that would be very hard for departments to move.
Yeah. Just out of curiosity, do you have a sense of how many hours of staff time it took to prepare this information in this presentation?
So we worked almost 3 months on this one, and we had about 3 or 4 people working on this one as well.
Yeah. As I mentioned earlier, I'm a little sensitive today about civility amongst electeds, but I also think we have to be really reasonable with city staff here. And I highly question if it was a good use of our city resources and time when our dedicated city staff have other important things to do. And I'd like to point out that gathering this information would have been immeasurably easier for our staff if they had an updated, functional technology platform on which to do it. So I'm going to take this opportunity to beg my colleagues not to take funding from this important platform upgrade again. The ERP resource cut from last year's budget is what I'm referring to. We have needed this for years, and every single delay pushes out our implementation of it even further. This would probably be pretty easy information to pull if we had that up and running by now. In my opinion, this was a monumental waste of this department's time to have to pull this data together and present it in charts. I'm not quite sure what purpose this serves, but I'm sure the authors have all kinds of things to say about how it's useful. I just don't know what it would be. Thank you.
Councilmember Cashman.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I really have very specific questions for you. As I was looking through this, I was looking for some things that we budgeted for that were under this threshold to see who they ended up going to, and I couldn't find them in this list. So I'm just wondering if you could help me figure out exactly who was awarded the Hate Crime Prevention Technical Assistance Grant that was under $175,000, and who is awarded the Zero Waste Community Innovation Grants, which is also under that threshold.
Chair Chaktai, Vice Chair, Councilmember Cashman, I won't be able to answer that.
Do you know which exhibit they would be in of the 7?
It would be, if it is here, it would be in the Exhibit 1A and 1B.
Okay. So I'm just curious, like if they, because I know that they have gone out this year as far as I'm aware, and so I didn't see them here. So if I could note this for follow-up, it would be great to be identified with where they are, since these were things that, one that I authored, one that I co-authored, and that we're eager to see, delivered in the community. So for the clerk, it was the Hate Crime Prevention Technical Assistance Grant and the Zero Waste Community Innovation Grant. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Council President Payne, followed by Councilmember Chavez.
Thank you, Vice President Chugtai. I'm grateful for the work that you've done here. I think it was actually a good use of staff time as we are in this new government structure. It's more important than ever that we establish really formal ways that we bake oversight into every single thing that we do. I think that under the previous government structure, that oversight was more assumed because council did have much more power and authority over some of these decisions. Now we're pretty far removed from the types of decisions that go into approving these contracts. And so by baking this process in, particularly in ordinance language, I think that's going to be very beneficial. I think spending 3 months understanding what the level of work looks like greatly informed what that request is looking like and helping us establish policies and procedures around developing that information. And frankly, this is the kind of thing that is helpful to have an independent auditor to look at our controls and to make sure that we aren't wasting taxpayer dollars on these types of contracts. Because I think although we do have controls in place here, we can always do better on those controls. And it is going to be extremely beneficial to have a new ERP system to help streamline these types of requests. And I'm really grateful that, we were able to discover through actual some scrutiny on that budget amendment to learn that we can actually still move forward with the implementation of that ERP system by partnering with the state and their MSA agreement with the software provider. So just giving that context.
Thank you.
Wonderful. I'm not seeing anyone else in queue. I will ask if anyone else has one final time. Any questions or comments? Going once, going twice, not seeing any. I will thank you so much for this presentation, for all of your work in the lead up to it, and for answering questions as diligently as you were able to. So really, really appreciate that. Thank you, Director.
Thank you.
I will ask the clerk to receive and file that report. And with that, colleagues, we have concluded all business to come before the committee today. And if there are no objections, we stand adjourned. Thank you, everyone.